Is free will an illusion? Do we have free will? Are we even free? Free will is a topic filled with mixed reactions. While a number of philosophers believe we do not have free will, a section of them believes we are in complete control of our lives. The freedom of choice should not, however, be confused with free will. Can we say that our computers are free? Don't they make their own choices according to how they are programmed? If a computer is set to choose light over darkness, it will certainly follow the light. But does it have a choice to choose light or darkness? Of course, but in the end, it will choose that which it is programmed to do. And that's how free will works. Having a sovereign, self-sufficient freedom of will have clouded our minds until we tend to forget we do not have free will. Despite having the mind to choose wrong from right or right from wrong, it is merely based on the decisions within our reach. They are simply deterministic from our previous experiences, and therefore we cannot term such decisions as free. Otherwise, we do not have much control over our lives, or at least we never will have unlimited free will upon our lives. We can only try, but naturally that is not within our reach. We do not choose where we are born, nor what experiences we have from a young age. We do not choose many things. We do not choose to shut our minds and be anew. We do not choose who to meet in life and who not to. They are all outside our possible choices. And do we choose to believe in one thing and not another? It's intrinsic. So we constantly make serious choices in life that leads to more choices which affects the next choices, and clearly it reaches a point we do realize we have nothing else we can do. It is in that last step of choices that we do realize that we do not have free will, and so often we live our lives to natural forces to decide. Even in that desperate state, choices are made, not consciously though. Humans like being in control of people and their surroundings. The idea of someone being in control of their lives can make them seem not all powerful as they think. But do you think and really still believe we have free will? The will to determine our own life paths? How can we define free will? What is free will? Free will is often confused with freedom of will. The latter is the ability to make free choices and act on them. That is, if one has multiple choices to choose from. The choices are neither random nor predetermined. In that case, you can choose to do one thing and let go of another. Some people have more freedom of will than others. A slave has lesser freedom of will since most of his actions are predetermined by the master. However, do remember freedom of will and free will are completely different. Free will, on the other hand, is quite restrictive. According to Walter State's definition, free will can be defined by three states. First, it is the ability to do otherwise, and in this state, one has a free choice to do what he wishes to do. Secondly, one must have full control over the choices he makes. In this condition, one must therefore not be influenced to make his own decisions. The choices are only decided by one. Thirdly, choices are deeply rooted by an individual's rational decision and not primarily a gamble. One should be responsible for his own decisions, including possible consequences of the outcome. So there is. Let's view free will versus determinism. How are they the same? How are they different? The human mind will make the best possible choices based on previous experiences, genetic composition, expectations, environmental factors, and sometimes beliefs. Think about it. We will often choose what is familiar to us. But do we know why? Some of the experiences are deeply rooted on our senses. We can choose to marry our ex-partners instead of a new acquaintance who is even much better. But in that case, did we have a choice? Of course. What did our mind do? Completely the opposite of the best decision. Our conscious and subconscious minds are often in contradiction. Most of these dilemmas are based on either logic or emotions. The idea of determinism therefore means that we usually have no control of what we want to do. For instance, you feel anxiety. You have that one friend who can listen to you anytime, and you have the new number of a therapist a friend recommended. You know your friend will make you feel better. You also know that the best decision to call and the best person to call is the therapist so as not to load the friend with unnecessary emotions. The choice you make will greatly affect you positively. Will you call the friend or the therapist? You can also choose to meditate and feel better. All those are possible choices, but most people in these cases will unconsciously make decisions without thinking much through them. They'll obviously call the first person they feel connected to, and that will be the friend. Human beings are faced with more serious dilemmas in life. Some of them involve cravings of food. Another example would be a woman who wants junk food. Yet trying so hard to work out and lose some pounds. She can choose to feel happy by having the junk sweets or choose to stick to a diet if she's serious with weight loss. One part of the brain will say, life is short, we only live once, kaende kaende. Then there is this logical part which will be reminding you about the possible consequences of not following a diet. It will suggest a more healthier meal which might not be as appealing. Do we have control of what choices we can make at that point? Of course, and that is deterministic by our own willpower. What we think is better than the other, or what we feel is better than the other. Either way, we are right. Free will is simply a decision made solely without coercion. And in this type of example, determinism has affected one's choices already. And either choice that one makes is not entirely free because they are already predetermined by the possibilities of their effects. Have you ever been faced with such scenarios? How does free will affect morality? If we have free will, why are we still having lots of bad guys? Many people do not like creating uneventful misfortunes to others. If they really had a choice on their emotions, why are many people very unhappy? No one wants to be unhappy. Having free will simply states that we have the power to do anything we wish to do. And from a scientific point of view, nothing occurs without reason. From metaphysical perspectives, we are a part of a wider dimension. Each and every particle is a part of the cosmos, and all these movements are affected by the state of the cosmos. Free will mainly originated from religion. God was believed to be in control of our lives. He still is. In the Bible, God in the Old Testament tells Prophet Jeremiah in dreams that he knew him even before he was born, and his life path had been predetermined even before his own conception. What does this information have to do with free will? Did the prophet had a choice on how his own life will turn out? Of course not. Contradictory information is in the New Testament stating that humans had the will to choose right or wrong. I'm not sure what had changed. Humans are believed to have freedom to choose good or evil, and either of their choices have consequences. The idea of moral liberty in itself disregards free will existence in humanity. Moral liberty is the ability to choose right from wrong, mainly as described by religion in early civilizations. The creation of good and evil went further to enslave humanity into what they deemed fit. It is not amusing to see other powerful individuals using religion to enslave their victims to date. When they wrote that people perish for lack of knowledge, they were quite right. If one cannot use his own mind, which is ultimately controlled by predetermined forces, he will be a slave to another force. Free will is not a debate of what is and what is not. If one cannot choose what he wants to do due to some societal expectations of moral definitions, then how free is he? The human brain is like a machine, and just like any other machine, it needs a good engine for optimal results. But even if the machine is as powerful as it could ever be. It will still need something else more conscious to control it, isn't it? If the machine can do tasks, reason according to its capacity, and have a working engine, how different is it from human beings? Isn't everything the machine doing a result of some conscious thought? I'm sad to realize we are in a cosmic trap, and I'm sorry for knowing this late. The human mind might perceive its own control of the current events, but it is not as it is. We are being driven by limited choices every time. We are limited in what we can think and believe. We are limited in how far we can go. It is a well planned out theory, and we are in a trap. Can our mind freedom be the same as our physical freedom? How different are they? Our minds could be free, but what about our physical selves? Won't the mind propel the body to act according to its will? Then what next for the body? Punishment, of course, if the deed was against the belief of the moral liberty, political regulations, or against the societal views. Therefore, there is no way we can have free will while still living physically. Our own existence disrupts the possibility of an ultimate freedom. Being spiritual beings, it will only be fair to live spiritually and not physically. Our bodies have been the greatest limitation to freedom. It is like a butterfly trapped under glass. It cannot fly, but even if it did, how far will it go? But then he will eventually die, right? In the 1980s, an American physiologist, Benjamin Libet, showed how free will could be an illusion and how humans do not have free will. In his experiment, he demonstrated that even before a person makes a conscious decision, the electrical activity builds up in his brain and the person makes a physical move. What we act is as a result of the brain chemical reactions, and therefore our minds have no conscious choice in what one does at any given moment. It is like a machine working by how it is programmed to. That is why we do end up acting according to our beliefs, earlier choices, previous actions, and more. And that only means we are no different from any other animal. If we are not intelligent enough to be free and to choose one thing from another, right from wrong, it seems we have no otherwise but to act as described in our life paths, and our lives follow a clear outline of fated life script. Those who strongly believe in free will are more likely to be morally upright, hardworking, and empathetic with the others. On the other hand, those individuals who do not believe in free will more likely act according to their own choices, and that will be without thinking through their own choices. They will not therefore be as moral as the former. That was according to research done by two psychologists, Kathleen Voss, oh my goodness, this name is hard, and Jonathan Schooler. Their research, however, has gotten a lot of criticisms with people believing otherwise. People who believe free will is an illusion tend to be involved in cheating and other immoral behaviors, and that the lesser they believe in free will, the lesser they feel responsible for their choices, actions, and outcomes. What we see from this statement is that these people confuse their brains, and the brain ends up not making a decision for them. Therefore, they end up acting according to what they really want to act. I don't know, that's contradicting. Humans are selfish, arrogant, and territorial in nature. The idea of free will might want to suppress these emotions, but when one doesn't believe much in having control, the higher energies will direct him according to their own will. Of course, we have a choice sometimes, the choice of will. But how everything turns out, that's not up to us. This research proves that what our brains believes affect how we will act the next second. Human beings were 1,001% predictable on how they would react to a trigger depending on their beliefs. Our brains are, of course, like computers, which often choose for us the best possible way to act at a particular moment. All these parameters work together to make the possible choice of action. That is our mind, soul, brain, heart. But sadly, some people will subconsciously choose things, and others consciously, others unconsciously. It's a whole lot spectrum. Not believing in free will, therefore, leaves our brains to make the best rational decision by itself. But still, these decisions are predetermined by invisible cosmic forces. Just like any other type of matter, we are wired to be less worried of our neighbors and more conforming, and to be in groups, of course. The few individuals who feel otherwise end up having extremely better or very miserable lives for being misunderstood. The belief that free will is an illusion makes one less productive and even less moral. I doubt this research though, because we do not have free will either way. It is just one of the tools brought about by civilization to contain evil. Our brains direct our actions according to our mind's beliefs. Most often it is the brain that makes the decision, not even your mind. Before you think about something, your body already acted seconds before without you having a conscious decision on how everything will turn out to be. And for instance, if someone is angry, his brain releases adrenaline hormones that are either for fight or flight. The mind has no room to decide if it is moral or not. It will dawn on the mind later on after realizing what he has done. And that happens when someone is in danger. It is the body that gets the punishment in the end and not the brain itself. How can we punish the whole body for the evil performed by one organ? Even believing in free will to be an illusion will be itself an illusion. Our brains are able to make our mind decisions even before we think of what to do. Our brains make decisions before our minds think. Believing or not believing should not change someone's behavior unless it is the power of our own minds to reprogram our own brains constantly. That's why I say, um, keep on feeding your mind with knowledge, understanding, new things, and you'll be someone anew. It is the mind, the beliefs, and everything that you think of that might affect the way your brain works. It is what it is, right? So, what is the use of the mind when the brain does all the work even before the mind makes a decision? Huh? That is weird. Then somehow our minds unconsciously chooses actions. Yeah, I think so. I would say the mind should give the brain ample time to analyze by thinking of the best ways to improve everything else efficiently. How good is my brain right now? It's rusty. Research results shows that people, before they do something, the brain had used all the previous scenarios of the same instance and how you reacted at that particular time. And therefore, even before you think, it knows exactly how you would have wanted to react. It then builds up electrical reactions and varying action in the physical self. You might have acted that way, or someone in your genetic relationship once acted that way, and that is how we end up simulating our ancestral behaviors. Our DNA composition has an effect on how we turn out to be in the long run. Our past existence, in a way, affects our behaviors as well. If therefore we did have free will, what will become of us? First, many of us will not be where we are today, and we will not be doing what we are doing. Some of us will be a duplicate of their thoughts, wild, calm, you know. There won't be moral liberty, and everyone will do things as he or she wills. Some of us will declare themselves God, all powerful, and destroy our own habitats when angry. And some of us, the empaths, will try as much as possible to make the world a better place. All none of those things will happen. We won't even know we had free will. Yeah, I think none of anything will happen. We won't know. But since we have no free will, we are bound to have limitations on how far we can act. One cannot just wake up and say he wants to live in your house because he prefers it to his own residence. But I've seen myself as a soul and I was calm. Souls are quite calm and they're fine just being souls. They don't wish for anything, they're just pure energy. So, being in a universe which controls our own thinking, it is not easy to differentiate freedom with slavery. We are only limited to think this far. And everything else that humanity have survived, it was all planned out or someone had thought about it. We are someone's dream and someone somewhere believes we could be a reality. Except in this dream, the characters cannot make their own decisions, choices, and actions. But what if we involved other factors across the universe? If we could know why we are here and why we are alive, we would solve most of these questions. Since we do not know why we were placed here, we have no will on what transpires thereafter. If we wanted to move our planet 90 degrees north, 100 light years away, of course we are intelligent enough to do that. But can we really do it? We can have the will, but what is making us not to do it? There are forces we cannot go against. Why are they even in this space? Do we have the choice to alter the natural forces? No, we can't change gravity. We can't change the speed of light. We only live. From this view, we do realize we have never been in control. Not even once. The cosmos chooses if the sun will shine or not. And just like that, it chooses if we're needed or not. It is really awful. Please share, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. Hoping to hear from you. So, how free are you?